Hi, thank you for joining me. In this video, we're going to be talking about contact types and how it relates to the list builder and what we can do with both of these. So what we're going to start off with is contact types. We're going to go over to the Contacts tab, and then we're going to come down to the submenu of Contact Types. Now you're going to see that I have just a few here, and ideally you want to keep your contact types to a minimum, anywhere from about 5 to 10. The reason for this is that the contact type really is not much more than just a badge, that little sticker on your shirt or your jacket that says, "Hi, my name is." So what this does within the system by using this is it's just a tag, it's just a label, and it doesn't do a lot. So very, very, very important is not to use contact types for club members. It's not going to work well. It's going to be way too much work for you to try and manage. And because it's just a label, it's just going to be a tag on somebody's status, if you will. You're not going to have the ability to update them or to be able to say that they're active or on hold, etc. The system is going to take care of that much better than you would be able to with trying to do it with contact types. So some of the better contact types to use are some like we have here: employees, friends and family, industry, test. Test is very important. You should always have a test. Also, samples, donations. You see that we have TR pours here. This is a big one. So I go into this in our POS explanation as well. But for the quick aspect of this, with the TR pours being able to use this as a contact type, we make this, we are going to add that to a contact profile, and then we're going to create a promo that discounts 100% off that is tied to just this contact type. And so when we open up the profile in the POS, then the promo is going to act immediately on any of the products put into the cart, and they're all going to be 0. And because it's only one contact type on one profile for this one promo, then it only affects that and you don't have to worry about others. So I can go into that in depth in another video. But the point here with the contact types, again, is just keep in mind that it's more of just a label. It's just a, "Hi, my name is." It doesn't do a whole lot. And at the same time, we can use it to really segment different areas that we're looking for, but it's kind of a staging process or a staging area as well. I've seen a lot of people, a lot of clients that put in, this is a contact that I got from this convention or this symposium or something like that. But that's all a staging ground of where do you bring in that information to be able to manipulate it within the system and then add it to another section or area. And that's all well and fine, but the management of the contact types is extremely important. Again, seen many times where people have pages and pages of contact types, and they all say, "Oh yeah, we got to clean that up." Yeah, clean that up, because it's just going to cause more confusion when you are trying to streamline your processes. So keep in mind, though, that the contact types is actually directly linked to List Builder. From this aspect, if every time that you create a contact type, you are going to create a corresponding list in the list builder, and you can tell because it's going to have this little asterisk. And it'll have this little asterisk right here. That means that it's a contact type. Now that's all well and fine if you don't need a lot of information from said list. Because if I click on this, the only thing that I can do with this list is generate it, and all the system is going to do is go into the database and check to find all the people that have the employee contact type or the little tag that says, "Hi, my name is an employee." And I can generate that list, and that's all well and fine, and I will get how many of those are in the system at that moment. More on that later. But the thing here is that with the list builder, it is so much more powerful than just giving you the count of how many people have this little sticker. And what we can see here is that we have some with asterisks and some without. Ideally, what I would really recommend is to not create a contact type, just create a list. And part of the reason for that is you're going to clutter up your list builder lists or section of list. And because what's going to happen is this. You're going to create a contact type. It then creates a corresponding list with an asterisk. But maybe some of that information you need to do more with, which means you're going to create another list. Or you're going to create the list for the asterisk, and then you're going to put it into another list. The problem with all that is now you have one contact type and two lists for everything that could be done in just one list that you created to begin with. So again, the contact types could be a good staging area, but again, you need to make sure you clean those up just to make sure you're not cluttering everything. So ideally, we want to create a list. It's just a title, just put whatever in. And it doesn't really matter because that's just going to be the title. That's just going to be whatever you want out of this list. Now, the great thing about the list builder is that I have all these sections that I can dive into to really put together the list that I'm looking for and whom I'm looking for in the database. Starting with the contact options, you're going to see here that we have a lot. And this is where I know that most people in general don't have any free time. Take 15 minutes at a time to go through each of these different sections. Hopefully now you have a little more time on your hands and you can kind of play with this. But go through the different options of saying which contact types do I want in my list. Which contact types do I not want? Well, okay, wait. Why would I have contact types not? Well, again, these are just stickers. These are just labels. This is just a little piece of information for this one person that they can have multiple contact types. You, as somebody in the system, maybe just an employee working on stuff or admin or manager, you might need to have multiple contact types for just you. So how do you get to just the employees but not test? In this case, I could do employee and not test. Therefore, I can find all the people that are employees but that don't also have test. So it's a way of trying to manipulate the data to find out just exactly whom you're trying to get to. And remember that if I don't check anything, if I have not added any data, and I go ahead and I generate that list, that gives me a complete number of everybody in the system. But as soon as I go in here and I start clicking on boxes, that's going to close in that net. It's going to make that pool smaller. So every time that you do a checkbox, you are going to get more and more and more specific. Keep in mind, you can get down to 0 because you can just basically whittle everybody out, and that's not necessarily what you're looking for. But in here, take a look, because you have a lot of great, very powerful tools in here to really segment out your customers. Even lifetime value, let's say you want to do 0 to 500, 501 to 1,000, etc., 5,000 plus. When was that date range? When were they added? So from all of 2019, I want a lifetime value of $1,000 or more, etc. And so you can do those kinds of things, which is very, very powerful. Birth date. Now this goes into other things we're going to talk about in other videos, but the birth date is very, very important. Well, it's a little creepy to just ask somebody for their birthday. So this is where, especially in the POS conversation, we talk about adding an additional customer to the system and handing them the iPad and let them put all the information in. If you get that birth date in there as well, your segmentation just became much more powerful and your targets are much more specific. So keep that in mind. Zip code and radius. This is actually a great one, especially for now. You want to get to everybody within that's pickup distance, or you want to do curbside service, or you have different tasting rooms and you want to see all the people around in those areas. Let's say you're going to go out and do a pop-up somewhere. Maybe Texas is a hotbed for you. You're going to go Austin, Dallas, Houston. Well, I want to see all the club members within 50 miles because we're going to be doing a pop-up dinner with a celebrity chef or something along those lines. Hopefully you have the means to do that. Maybe not so much right now, but in the future. But in this case, these are tools that if you haven't looked at, you might not have thought about. Hey, this is something that I can really use. And then we can go by states, and we can also go by countries, depending on where you are. Then we can get into the club options. Here's a great. I got this from a coworker. This was amazing. This was a really good one. I'm pretty sure we've all gone in and gone, okay, I need to pull a list of all my clubs, and I'm going to do that. Well, thankfully, if you've only got 1 or 2 or maybe 4 clubs, not so that bad. I've seen people, and I've advised clients who have had 20, 30. There was even somebody that had 87, and you know who you are. Just a few too many, a hair. But in this case, I could do this, and then I would go ahead and save it and then generate the list. Or let's do one click. What? One click? Yes, one click. And this made me so happy when I found out all I have to do is click active and hit save. And then I could just go to generate list. And it's going to give me all of my active club members. Look at that. That's great. And if you want to just do on hold as well, and that's another aspect we talk about on holds. Are they truly on hold, or are they on hold with retained club privileges? And, if we've talked in the past, you know that I'm a huge fan of using on hold with retained club privileges for any of the club members that have come in and picked up their shipments prior to processing, or if somebody just joined the club right before or during club processing, and putting them on hold with retained club privileges skips them in club processing, so you don't have to worry about charging them again. Again, that's something else to talk about in the POS webinar and videos. All right, so you can see here we have the same thing as before, clubs not, declines from last club run. This is all well and fine, but a better way to do all the declines, and this is completely up to you, but a better way to do this is something I'll talk about in the Wine Club webinar and videos, or in the trainings, is that the best way to do this is when you're in club processing and you've already processed everybody, you're going to go back into the club member tab anyways, just to kind of get an idea of what, all the errors, or just make sure it's just declines and expired cards. Well, you're already there. If you look in the top right corner, there's a little email tool, and you can email all the declined people for that batch right then and there. You don't have to go out, go somewhere else. You don't have to generate this list and then all this other stuff. And what's even better is that by doing the email through the club processing, you have access to the auto-populating tag. Look it up if you haven't seen it. The auto-populating tag of // credit card //. Therefore, it puts in the last 4 digits of the card that declined, and you can put an email together going, hey, so-and-so, your card declined. Oh, by the way, it's this Amex with these last 4 digits, or MasterCard, Visa, whatever. But the point being is that you can get very specific. Generally, that is a better way, even though you have to do it per club batch. It's a little bit better than doing it here. You're more than welcome to go ahead and do it here. You'll just have to use the send club email tool, email tool, but you won't get the specificity of the actual credit card that declined. And if you know about your customers and they're in multiple clubs, then they may have different cards on different clubs. You don't know. They don't know. I'm in 3 clubs. I can't tell you which credit card I have at which one. So it's nice to go, hey, this one declined. Oh, okay, yeah, that one got hacked. So here, use this one. Sign up date, also pretty nice as well. We can do this in the club members report, on holds, cancels, again, status. This is great too. I can look for pickup only, ship only, etc. Credit card expires, get a hold of them, get on top of that prior to your club run. Keep that in mind. Should be part of your pre-processing checks. Okay, so little things like this are really important to get into, dive into, and see what else can be done. Now, these are generally used in this order. Contact options used a lot, club options used a lot, and then pretty much nothing. But this is where I want you to really kind of take a look at this. This is where you can get to your low-hanging fruit. Product SKUs purchase X of more of certain SKUs. What would I use this for? Well, let's see. We've got a new release coming out, and let's see. We have some Chard, we have some Pinot, I got a Cab, or maybe I have a Rosé. Well, you know what? I want to get to all the people that bought that last year. Well, I can do that. I can pull an order detail report and for that time period, and I can do a pivot table as well. And then that's going to show me all the people that bought said SKUs from a particular period, and I can do it that way. What I can also do is I can put the SKUs in here, and this would be SKU, comma, SKU, comma, SKU, etc. So no space, comma, no space, if you're going to put multiple SKUs in. But the point here is that now I can look for all the people that had bought this product before because they're my low-hanging fruit, and these are the people I can go after right away. Same thing when it comes up into the fall. I talk about this every fall, is that all your holiday gifting. Go after all the people that bought it last year. They already know what an amazing deal that was. Chances are a good percentage of those are going to buy. So boom, there you go. So keep those things in mind. Very, very important. We can even do that by department, all the people that bought wine, or we're having a sale on jackets or hats, or I'm closing out, or whatever. Then go ahead and look for different departments as well. Keep in mind also order types, immensely powerful for your reporting to take out or to look at specific areas. Keep in mind they're like sales channels. And especially something like TR pores. Remember, you got a contact type, you have the contact or the profile, and it's tied to a promo. The last little piece of that is create an order type called TR pores or whatever you want to call it. And by adding that at the last step before you cash out at the end of the night, you have now made it much more powerful for the accountant to go in and take that order type out, which is effectively taking out all your $0 invoices so that the numbers that you're left over with mean a lot more. So little tip on that for you, and that's something I also go over in other videos and topics. Especially the order options area, if you wanted to look for certain people that were only going through the admin panel, only club orders, only the POS, only the website, etc., and from a certain time period. This is a great way to pull that up as well. Again, if you're good at pivot tables, you could definitely do this from the order detail report, which has got like 92, 93 columns of information. You don't need that much. But at least it's the biggest data dump that you'll get in the reports from this system. So take a look at that as well. And then who hasn't bought in the last few months or weeks or year, however that is. And you can even do by certain states as well. So this is where, especially with the list builder, I would just add a list. Start with a list and do your information here. If you need to, with a contact type, go ahead and I can go in, I can generate a list, and from the one I create a contact type. Let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to create a contact type, say friends and family. And it's a contact type, it has a corresponding list. I go in here, I generate this list. Well, now if I need to, I can download as a CSV. I can put this into another contact type. Okay. So now what I can do is, can't move the screen down, sorry. I can put this in, it says place into contact type, and then I can choose which contact type I want to add that to. And you also have the option of replace contacts in contact type with this list. Basically what that means is that anything that was in that other contact type that you're going to add it to, anybody that was there before is going to get wiped out and you're going to start over with this list. Or if you uncheck it, you're just adding to that. So that's what you would do if you're using the contact type and its corresponding list as just a gathering tool, and then you just keep shuttling people over. Also, place into a campaign. Hey, do you know about the campaign tool? It's right up here. If you haven't played with that, take a look at it. It's got some good stuff, especially if you're doing phone sales at this time. Now, keep this in mind, because I get this all the time as well. When I'm building a list, everybody asks, invariably, okay, not everybody, 95% of the people ask, oh, is it going to save that information? Oh, this information is saved, etc. No, let me clarify the semantics on this. When you go to build the list, the criteria that you are asking the system to go find is saved until you change it. However, when I generate the list, this is a moment in time. So as soon as I click, build the list, I click generate list, and it gives me this number. As of whatever time that was in that moment, it found that many people based on your criteria in the database. If I'm looking at all active club members here, and I check this every 5 minutes throughout the day, chances are this number is going to change based on additions and cancellations. So this is a variable number. If you wanted to keep a running history of this, then I would download the CSV, and then that way I would have a moment in time and it would be saved. But anytime I hit generate the list, that is, as of that moment, how many people do I have based on the details or the criteria that I'm asking it to go find, okay? So keep that in mind, very important. And then the other thing is this area. So keep in mind that purchaser means that some of these people have purchased from you, usually through the website. Single opt-in means that somebody has either put their email into the newsletter subscriber field that you have on your website, or opted in from the POS. And then the double opt-in is where after they single opt-in, they get an email and it says verify your email address. If they click on that, boom, double opt-in, platinum standard, yes, 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 please send me all your info. The section over here, though, a little bit different, and you can definitely look these up. The same explanations here are the same ones you can find in Google. But this is where you start, blank. Blank does not mean that they don't have an email address or they don't have information. It's kind of a misnomer. I wish it was called something else, but it's not. What blank means is that the email provider that WineDirect uses, which is SendGrid, has not verified the email of whoever this person is, or if you had a whole bunch of them. And so if you have any blanks, you're going to see that there's a clean list tool off to the right. And what this is going to do is for 2 cents an email, the system, SendGrid, is going to send 10 ghost emails to each of those email addresses to double check and see if they're good. If they are, it's going to come up clean and everything's hunky-dory, you're fine. If the address or domain is correct, but for whatever reason it can't get into the inbox, there's a quota, it's full, I don't know how it could be full, but if whatever it is these days, then it'll tell you how many times, or how many people have a soft bounce, which is, it's still good, but we can't get in there. Then you have the hard bounce, which is bad domain, bad address, or they've just actively marked you as spam. And then, of course, you also have the unsubscribes, which when I talk about the email tools in the other video, we're going to talk about which email tool to use to get to the masses, get to your club members, and then really get to your club members. So be on the lookout for that one as well. All right. So that pretty much does it for contact types and the list builder and kind of how they work together. You can definitely use these to your advantage, especially in this time, but at any time. This can really help you to kind of get narrowed down and really kind of streamline the system. Again, some of the stuff in list builder you can also do in reports if you're good with pivot tables. But then we're also going to see later on how contact types can actually be used in a couple different areas, as well as list builder. The list builder is going to be very important when it comes to the emails as well, and I'll talk about it in that video. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.